Hi and welcome to this tutorial. In today's tutorial, we'll see and discuss about data types and variables. Right? So, what is data type and what is variable? How these are related? Okay. And after the conceptual part, we'll try to do some coding and see some example what it is to get a more view on that. So what is variable, right? In the last section also I was mentioning the same thing. So variable is a name of a memory location or placeholder where you keep your data. Same example I will take last section what I had taken. You want to add 5 and 2. So you want to get the result as 7. So you have to store 5 in a variable, 2 in a variable, 5 in a place, 2 in a place, right? Different places. Now each of them are called variable. The name of each of them where it is stored are called variables, right? So syntax of variable is access modifier, data type, the name of variable, and I'm assigning some data value to the variable. What is access modifier data type? We'll see in couple of seconds. So this is the example. Public char C, what is char, what is boolean. We'll see now. Okay. Now the types of variable. How many types of variables are there in Java language? Okay. Broadly, we can categorize the variable in four different segments. One is local variable, another one is instance variable, or it is also called non-static variable. Another one is static variable or class variable. Another one is parameters. So we will discuss one by one. Okay. Parameter we'll see when we'll be discussing the methods in the next video. Okay. Rest of them we'll have it look at it. Okay. So what is local variable now? Local word itself says or gives an impression, right? It's local to something. So if a variable, method, right? I was discussing the same thing in last section that it is a method. So method is basically a block of code which performs certain set of operations or actions, right? Or manipulate the data, right? Basically, let's say if a variable is within the scope of the method, then that is called local variable. Let's see how it looks like, how we can create through coding. Let's switch to Eclipse. Okay, so this was the previous example. Okay, now let's create another class. Okay, to make it more cleaner. So let's create another class. Let's say class name is dummy example. I am creating a class for variable. So I had given a name. Okay, so this is a class. This is the name of the class. Okay, and I am creating a variable called int I equal to 9. Okay, now again I am creating a method. Okay, int j equal to 89. So now here two variables I had created. This is one, I is equal to 1, which is capturing the value of 9. Another variable is j equal to 89, which is capturing the value of 89. So this variable j is called local variable. Why? Because the variable scope or operational area is limited within this method. Correct? This is the brace, opening brace, and this is a closing brace, right? And inside this variable has been declared. So the operational area of this variable j will be inside the method called method 1. Okay, this variable is not visible to outside of this method, so it is called local to this method. That is why this variable is called local variable. Okay, now we'll move on. So we understood what is local variable, right? At least we got some idea. Now what is instance variable or what is non-static variable? Variable which is declared outside all the methods, okay, and don't have a keyword associated with it called static. It is called non-static variable or instance variable. What is that? How to address that? So here I haven't mentioned any static keyword, right? It is simply I equal to 9, right? Let's create another method, public void method 2. Okay, let's say int k equal to 100. This is another method. So k is local again to this method. J is local again to this method. But this variable I is not within any of this method scope. The operational area of this I is throughout the here, not inside this one. Correct? I can access this I here and this I here as well. How we'll see later. But here the variable I is not within this. So it is and also not accompanied with any keyword called static. So it is not there, right? So static. So it is not there. So it is a instance variable. Got it? Now what is static variable? Static variable is a special type of variable compared to other variable which has some special properties. Okay, these also are called class variables. Okay, why we'll see. But for now, what is static variable? Static variable is a variable, okay, which is having a keyword called static. Let's see how it is. If I create a variable static int d equal to 81, this variable is called static variable. Why? Because this is having a keyword called static. Okay, what is the difference between this normal variable or non-static variable with this static variable? We'll see in depth in further videos, but for now let me give a brief overview of static variable. Okay, static variable is a kind of special variable, okay, where only one copy of the variable gets created throughout your project. Okay, this cannot have multiple copies. Okay, when you work with object, what is object we'll see later, but what is object and class? So basically object is nothing but a real world entity of a type that is class. Okay, so I was mentioning the same, right? So class can have multiple entity, so object is entity. So if I want to create an object for this, okay, let's say I have created object, let's say a. I'm not creating here, but simply I'm just trying to make you understand. If I let's say create object a, so a will be having a copy of I. If I again create another entity called b, okay, b will be again a copy of I. So how many copies will be created in memory space? Two copies per object. One copy of non-static variables gets created. But here is the catch. Even though I have created two math objects, the number of static variable will be one. Both of them has to access this variable from only one place, right? So it is called static variable. Okay, now what is the special cases, what is the special feature static variable has? This will know in further videos. Okay, because the scope is data type and variables. Okay, and static variable needs to take care, needs to be considered as a special case, and it has lot to discuss, because in interviews or in any real world concept where you develop the framework, you are trying to do some no data structure related stuff, you need to know static variable in very good manner. Okay, so it needs some time, so we'll discuss in next video. But for now you understood that, right? So static variable is having the only one copy in the memory throughout the workspace. All the objects, this class object or other class object, I can create multiple class, right? Again, each class can have multiple objects, so I can create multiple object and multiple classes, but only one copy of the static variable will be created. Okay, let's say I can create another static variable, r equal to 45 55, let's say. Okay, this is also one copy, so one copy of d, one copy of r. Okay, so that is why this is not a property for this objects, this is a property for class, because for each class, each static member gets only one copy, so that is a class level property. So that's why static variable called class variable. Okay, these are not called class variable because these are associated with respective objects. Got it? Each object will be having one copy of non-static variable, each non-static variables. Got it? Yes. Now what is parameter? Parameter we'll discuss separately, because parameter is what? Parameter is associated with methods. Okay, when we write the method. Okay, so on a high level, let me show you. Public void, again I am creating another method. Suppose I am writing something n. Okay, writing something here, whatever I'm writing, let's say I'm writing something, this is called parameter. N is called parameter, so this variable is called parameter. Okay, got the understanding? Okay, now why parameter is used, how parameter is used, we'll see the method section while doing the method example. Now what is data type? Data type means what? The word is saying data and type, two phrases, right? Data and type. So that is which represents the type of a data. Okay, I had, we had shown, right, data type is a variable. Data type of a variable means what type of data the variable can store or hold, right? We had seen the variable I, name of the variable I. This is called type. What type of data I can store? Say int means 9. Okay, that is called data type. So now let's see what are the categories. There are two broader categories available in Java as far the data type is concerned. One is primitive type, another one is non-primitive type. Primitive type again has four different segments or different type. One is Boolean, one is integer, one is character, one is floating point. So what is Boolean? So Boolean is a data type which can either be in two shapes, two formats, two different states. It can store only two different values once at a time. What is that? Either true or false. So Boolean can hold only true or false. Okay. So let's say the example, if I want to create Boolean b equal to true. So the value of this variable b is called true. Okay. So it can store only either true or false. Now what is integer? Integer can store integer value, int value, 5, 6, 10, 100, 20, 12, like this. Okay, got it? What is character value? Character data type. Character is another data type. Here I had shown integer, right? So let me show another example called L. So the value variable C captures is L. It is a single character what it can store. So character means single character, A, B, C, D, any of them. At a time, one character variable can store only one letter or character. Okay, what is floating point? Floating point data type is responsible for handling the data which is having fractional values or decimal values. What are them? So let's say you want to define a variable valuing 10.50 or 10.96. So then you have to define, let's say 19.73. You have to define like this. So the value 19.72 you cannot store in integer. So you have to store in float. Is it clear? So what is data type and what are the different segments? Okay. So we discuss here primitive type, right? What are non-primitive types? Non-primitive means which is not primitive, which is kind of derived. Kind example, string, array. Another example, class. Class is a non-primitive type. Okay. So regarding string array, we'll discuss furthermore in coming videos. So we have seen the example. Okay. That's it for this tutorial. Okay. If you like my video, do share, like, and subscribe to my channel. Okay. If you have any feedback, comments, question, queries, you can put them in the comment box. I'll be happy to help. Thank you and have a nice day.